Salvador Dali once said, "The only difference between me and a madman is that I am not mad." What if the strangest paintings ever created were actually windows into the human mind? Melting clocks, impossible elephants, burning giraffes, and dreamlike landscapes, Salvador Dali transformed the subconscious into unforgettable works of art. But behind every bizarre image lies a fascinating story of love, fear, war, science, and obsession. Today we're counting down Dali's 10 greatest masterpieces, from number 10 all the way to the painting that changed modern art forever. Number 10, the Lugubrious Game. Before Salvador Dali became the world's most recognizable surrealist, he painted the Lugubrious Game, one of his earliest masterpieces. Created when Dali was just beginning to work with the surrealist movement in Paris, the painting reflects his growing fascination with Sigmund Freud's theories about dreams, fears, sexuality, and the subconscious. The bizarre collection of fragmented figures, insects, distorted faces, and symbolic objects was deliberately designed to make viewers uncomfortable. Dali believed that irrational images revealed deeper psychological truths hidden beneath everyday life. The painting also marked an important moment in his personal life. Around this time, Dali met Galatea, the woman who would become his lifelong muse, wife, and greatest supporter. His confidence as an artist grew dramatically after this period. Today, the Lugubrious Game is housed at the Museo Nacional Centro de Arte Reina Sofía in Madrid, Spain, where it remains one of Dali's most significant early works. Number 9, the Burning Giraffe. By 1937, Europe was moving toward catastrophe. Spain was already devastated by civil war, and the threat of another global conflict was growing. Against this backdrop, Dali painted the Burning Giraffe, one of his darkest and most haunting masterpieces. The painting features ghostly women whose bodies contain open drawers, an idea inspired by Freud's belief that the human mind hides countless secrets. In the distance, a giraffe burns beneath a blue sky, a mysterious image Dali described as a symbol of impending disaster rather than a political statement. Although Dali tried to avoid political labels, the painting perfectly captures the anxiety and instability of its era. Its dreamlike atmosphere makes the approaching tragedy feel both surreal and frightening. Today, the Burning Giraffe is displayed at the Kunstmuseum Basel in Switzerland. Number 8, Metamorphosis of Narcissus. Inspired by the ancient Greek myth of Narcissus, Dali transformed a familiar story into one of Surrealism's greatest visual puzzles. On one side of the painting, Narcissus kneels beside the water, consumed by his own reflection. Beside him appears an almost identical shape, but this time it becomes a stone hand holding an egg from which a flower grows. Life emerges where death once existed. Dali created this work using what he called his paranoid critical method, deliberately encouraging multiple interpretations within a single image. The painting fascinated Sigmund Freud himself when Dali later met him. Completed during one of the artist's most creative years, the work remains one of the finest examples of visual transformation in 20th century art. Today, it can be admired at Tate Modern in London. Number 7, Soft Construction with Boiled Beans, Premonition of Civil War. Painted just months before the Spanish Civil War erupted, this extraordinary work almost seems prophetic. The enormous twisted creature violently tears itself apart, symbolizing a nation destroying itself from within. Scattered boiled beans appear strangely ordinary among the chaos. Dali later explained that even terrible events still happen in everyday life, making the beans an unsettling reminder of normality amid horror. Although many viewers interpret the painting politically, Dali insisted he was illustrating the universal madness of civil conflict rather than supporting one side. Today, this powerful masterpiece is part of the collection of the Philadelphia Museum of Art in the United States. Number 6, Dream Caused by the Flight of a Bee Around a Pomegranate. A Second Before Awakening. This remarkably long title describes an event lasting only a single second. Painted while Dali and Galatea were living in the United States during World War II, the artwork explores how external sensations influence dreams. A tiny bee buzzing near a sleeping woman triggers an explosion of impossible images. A fish, 2 tigers, a rifle with a bayonet, and a floating elephant carrying an obelisk. The sleeping figure is Gala herself, whose peaceful pose contrasts with the violent dream unfolding around her. Dalí believed dreams could compress entire stories into an instant before awakening, and this painting visualizes that astonishing psychological process. Today, it belongs to the Museo Thyssen-Bornemisza in Madrid. Number 5, Galatea of the Spheres. After World War II, Dalí became fascinated with atomic physics and modern science. Rather than abandoning surrealism, he combined scientific discoveries with spirituality in what he called nuclear mysticism. Galatea of the Spheres portrays Gala's face, but instead of solid flesh, it is composed of dozens of floating spheres suspended in perfect harmony. The painting reflects the new understanding that matter itself is made of tiny particles separated by empty space. Despite its scientific inspiration, the work also expresses Dalí's enduring admiration and love for Gala, presenting her as both human and almost divine. Today, this elegant masterpiece is displayed at the Dalí Theater Museum in Figueres, Spain. Number 4, the elephants. Few images are more closely associated with Dalí than his impossibly tall elephants walking across an empty landscape. The animals balance on impossibly thin legs, creating a striking contrast between enormous weight and apparent fragility. Their backs carry heavy obelisks inspired by sculptures in Rome, symbolizing power, ambition, and authority. Dalí often returned to this image because it represented one of his favorite artistic ideas, that reality can be transformed simply by changing proportions. The dreamlike sky and endless landscape invite viewers into a world where the laws of nature no longer apply. Today, the elephant is held in a private collection and is occasionally exhibited internationally. Number 3, The Temptation of Saint Anthony. In 1946, Dalí entered a competition to paint the Temptation of Saint Anthony. Although he did not win, the resulting painting became one of his greatest religious masterpieces. Saint Anthony stands nearly naked in the desert, desperately resisting towering creatures that march toward him on impossibly long legs. Each animal symbolizes earthly temptations, such as wealth, desire, pride, and power. The extraordinary perspective creates an overwhelming sense of danger while emphasizing the saint's spiritual determination. This painting also marked Dalí's increasing interest in religious subjects, a theme that would dominate much of his later career. Today it is displayed at the Royal Museums of Fine Arts of Belgium and Brussels. Number 2, Swans Reflecting Elephants. At first glance, this peaceful lakeside scene appears calm and beautiful. But look more closely. The reflections of the swans transform into the heads of elephants, while the surrounding trees become their enormous ears. 2 completely different images exist simultaneously within the same composition. Dalí believed that the human mind constantly shifts between multiple interpretations of reality, and this painting demonstrates that idea with remarkable clarity. Created during the height of his surrealist career, it remains one of the finest examples of optical illusion in art history. Today, Swans Reflecting Elephants is housed at the Dalí Theater Museum in Figueres, Spain. And number 1, The Persistence of Memory. Few paintings in history are as instantly recognizable as The Persistence of Memory. Created when Dalí was only 27 years old, this relatively small canvas completely transformed his career. The famous melting clocks were inspired by the simple image of soft camembert cheese left in the summer heat, proving that extraordinary ideas can emerge from ordinary moments. Rather than representing broken clocks, Dalí suggested that time itself is flexible, unstable, and deeply connected to memory and dreams. The strange sleeping figure in the center is often interpreted as a distorted self-portrait of the artist. More than 90 years after it was painted, this masterpiece remains the defining symbol of surrealism. Today, it is proudly displayed at the Museum of Modern Art, or MoMA, in New York City. Whether you see genius, mystery, or pure imagination, his paintings continue to challenge the way we think about reality. Which Dalí masterpiece is your favorite? Was it the famous melting clocks, the impossible elephants, or perhaps another painting that deserves a place on this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through the extraordinary world of Salvador Dalí, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Art Top 10, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next countdown exploring the greatest masterpieces in art history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.